Recently, I did a boot camp with Denton Fisher, aka Karisma King, earlier this month. I had a great time. I wanted to share my experiences. Just a little bit of personal background on my situation with game. Um, I've been doing game for about 6-ish years, really on and off. I would probably say I'm in the intermediate range. I stopped for a while, and then back at the end of last year, I decided I'm really going to commit to this because that's when my game took a pretty big hit after not doing it for so long. Um, After a while of really going out there, committing to approaches, I got to a point where I was like, I need some like help from the professional because I was just plateauing. So I started going boot camp shopping, and I'll preface with I've never done a boot camp. Honestly, I never thought I would do a boot camp. It just didn't seem like it was for me. And honestly, it's a little intimidating. I'm not gonna lie. Look, it's kind of ironic. I was so nervous about this boot camp, and I was in the army. Like I've been to real boot camp, real basic training. That was kind of ironic. And that really like transferred to my experience when I actually met up in Vegas with Denton and I was pretty nervous that first time I met him. Really in my head, I'm meeting someone I look up to a lot, doing game. Plus, I'm doing all these approaches with these beautiful women in Vegas. It was pretty intimidating. But from the get go, he was really cool and understanding and non judgmental. He has such a presence to him. It's a really interesting vibe he has, and he really extends that to everyone he's around. You can just tell when he's talking to other people he gives them all the attention and love, even if it's just random people. It's pretty interesting, and I think it really reflects his kind of coaching too and who he is as a person. That's what we did though. We spent in the beginning. We spent some time on the approach anxiety in the head, and we all have approach anxiety. I was honestly probably more nervous about Denton judging my game versus doing game myself, which is kind of crazy. And that's what we spent a lot of time is getting into a place where I can do game or getting into the pocket, as he says. And that was a lot of inner game and techniques of getting in that I really haven't seen or heard before. And I followed RSD back in the day and stuff like that too. Um, I did do a lot of approaches, as you would expect with the boot camp, but it wasn't like an overwhelming, intimidating amount. I had a lot of fun throughout the whole entire thing, and that was a big theme. He has a really good finger on the pulse to your kind of skill level and maybe your comfort level too, and he finds a way to push it without overwhelming you, which I thought was great. And by the end, he was probably following me because I was just approaching everyone I could see. It was really fun, and that's like I said, a huge theme of the whole entire boot camp was an emphasis on fun. Stop thinking about all the technical stuff. Just let's have a good time, and that's honestly probably the most attractive thing you can do. And you're probably wondering too, did you have a lot of success? I had tons of success, especially compared to the last few months when I started getting back in the game. No, it was great, and that stuff really just went tenfold when I got back home. Some stuff I learned personally. I mean, state crisis or getting in the pocket, as he says, I really struggle with that, And there's a lot of techniques that he was doing himself. That was like, oh, pretty cool. He's doing these things himself to get him to that state too, which was really, was really humble on him. Personally, I'm a student of Todd Valentine. I love the systematic things. I love structure. I love trying all this stuff, and I'm a fucking nerd too. I take crazy notes on this stuff. And what he identified was, that's probably the problem. I'm putting a little bit too much in there. I'm not really connecting genuinely with other people. What he say to me? He said, "Does it feel like you're pushing buttons?" I'm like, "It does." These buttons work a lot of times, but I wasn't really connecting with these people. On top of that, realizing my value was a big thing. I think we're all pretty cool people. For the most part, we're all unique. A lot of us have been doing this. We've done some really cool things, but we haven't really come to terms with our value, who we are and how we are attractive in several ways. Um, you know, I would say to stop beating myself up was another big thing too. It's something I'm naturally going to do. And the biggest one of all is that if I'm in the right mental space, I can fucking slay. And I think that goes along with a lot of other people, especially these intermediate people. They know what they're doing. They know what to do, when to do it, how to do it. It's just about getting into a place where they can actually execute it. That's the really difficult part. Who would I recommend this to? I mean, people in intermediate purgatory, as I say. That's something I identified with, where you're just really plateauing and you don't really know what to do. I his boot camps are pretty cheap compared to other people I was boot camp shopping for, and honestly, it got me out of that intermediate purgatory. I feel like I have so many new things to work on and so many new things I conquered just on that boot camp. People that start with inner game, that is a big thing too. I think that's something he does the best. That's his great strength, I think, as a teacher as well. At least it was for me. Was how he, like, in an almost systematic way, he's able to get you from a place that's like very in your head, logical, nervous even, to a place where you're just having fun, letting go, and adding positive vibes to everyone around you. And then, beginners for sure. I think all beginners should probably do a boot camp. And then people really wanting to optimize their online game to the next level. I had pretty good success on the online dating apps before this, but this was crazy. I have an amazing amount where I don't even have to go out that much anymore. I mean, I still do because I like doing it, but some of the stuff is a little low key that you haven't really seen probably on most of the stuff you've seen on YouTube with optimizing your online dating profile. But he has such a well-rounded approach to his boot camps, so that way when you come home, you can really keep slaying. And I really saw some crazy, crazy results. 4 or 5 dates a week, at least, from some of the most beautiful girls I've talked to in the last few months. And then lastly, like, why am I recommending Denson? Excuse me. I told you from the beginning, you can tell he cares. He really cares. He really knows what he's talking about. And he gets in a way that I don't see a lot of other people do. You can kind of tell when you're in the presence of someone with that mastery level expertise. And I could also see when he was able to quickly identify things that I haven't been able to identify for years. Sticking points, blind spots, things I wasn't willing to look at or I just didn't even notice. That was really, really interesting, and how quickly he can do it, and how deeply I resonated with some of those sticking points. Uh, and again, he's very holistic, positive, healthy, mentally person. And I think we need that more in the pickup industry, because some of these coaches, I won't name names, but they can be a little toxic. And I think end of the day, we're trying to make the world a better place by doing pickup, adding value and good vibes, and not trying to suck and take other things. And then end of the day, you can tell he has a very genuine love for people, very authentic. You when you meet him, you'll see he just has a presence to him, and all these things. Honestly, I have no regrets for doing this boot camp, and highly recommend if you fit into some of those people that may benefit. So have a good one. I appreciate it, Denton, and see you later.